Now, photosynthesis, how do we know that photosynthesis actually occurs? Okay, there are some experiments that will test for photosynthesis. Okay, so of course, once you have got photosynthesis, your plant will make glucose. So when the plant makes glucose itself, excess glucose will be converted to this form called sucrose. Okay, and excess sucrose will then be converted into starch. Okay, so mainly this sucrose is for transportation around the plant itself. So of course, when I have got excess, they will then be converted to starch. So the main thing that we want to test is to test for starch, okay, to indicate photosynthesis. So how do we test for starch to indicate that photosynthesis, or to show that photosynthesis has taken place? We will be using this thing called the iodine test. Okay, so if the leaf goes blue-black, okay, that means the iodine is an original brown color. So when the leaf goes blue-black, that means to say that starch is present. Okay, so you take a leaf, okay, it has to be softened in boiling water first. That's the first point. Okay, so it has to be softened in boiling water for the first point. Thereafter, you switch off the Bunsen burner. Why? Because the next thing that you are going to use is ethanol, okay, which is alcohol. And alcohol, ethanol, is extremely flammable. It catch fire very fast. So you then dip the leaf, the softened leaf, into the ethanol to break up the cell membrane. Okay, so once you break up the cell membrane, at the same time the chlorophyll is removed from the leaf, you can then test it for the starch solution. Okay, so that would have indicated that photosynthesis took place. Now, next, how do you know that light or carbon dioxide is required? So once you know how to test for photosynthesis, what you can do is you can remove light as the factor and then test for photosynthesis. Similarly, you can remove carbon dioxide as the factor and then test for photosynthesis. Okay, so for light itself, okay, you will have to take a plant and remove the starch. Okay, so de-starch means to remove the starch. This is to ensure that whatever results that you obtain is truly through photosynthesis and not because the plant might have previously gone through photosynthesis in the presence of light. So leave it in the dark for a few hours, okay, so that the plant will use whatever starch that it has for food. Okay, it's the same way whereby if humans, we have not eaten for 12 hours, 14 hours, etc., we tend to use whatever energy that we have stored in us as a form of energy to keep the body going. Okay, so the plants will use whatever starch that it has stored to keep their energy and the processes going. So in order to confirm that there is really no starch, test for iodine solution, testing for starch, same method that you did here. Okay, so after that, cover a part of the leaf with aluminum foil to prevent the light from passing through. Okay, so after that, you can test for starch and you will realize that the covered areas will have no starch present, while the uncovered regions are the ones with starch. Alright, now next, similarly, when testing for carbon dioxide as a factor that is required for photosynthesis, what you will have to do is cover the plant with a plastic bag. So that is to ensure that the surrounding carbon dioxide is not going to be able to enter the plant itself. At the same time, you will need to add soda lime or sodium hydroxide. Okay, so what soda lime or sodium hydroxide does is that it will absorb whatever carbon dioxide that is within this plastic. So once the carbon dioxide is being absorbed, now you can leave the plant in sunlight for a few hours and test any part of the leaves for photosynthesis to check whether there is any photosynthesis that has taken place. So therefore you test it for starch. The result that you come back is that it will still be yellow because the plant does not have carbon dioxide to perform photosynthesis. Okay, alright, for next part of the lesson itself, there will be some worksheets for you to practice the basis of photosynthesis first, and then we will go through the components of the worksheet thereafter. Thank you for listening.